So this will be my first ever game review, and today we're talking about... With this being my first Armored Core game in general, I had no idea what to expect, which seems to be a pretty common experience for a lot of people, but it led to a lot of negative takeaways online. They see that FromSoft made this, and then when it doesn't play like Elden Ring or Dark Souls, they can't bring themselves to enjoy the game anymore because of their own preconceived notions about what the game was going to be not matching up to what it was. That didn't happen for me though. Armored Core 6 was one of the more surprising games for me in a long time. I'm a relatively new gamer in general, but an absolute newbie when it comes to FromSoft, with Elden Ring being the very first thing I ever played from them. I still haven't beaten Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3 yet. Like Elden Ring, I had no idea what I was getting into when I started this game up, so I was able to let the game just kind of guide me. I was able to experience the anger and frustration that the game wanted me to experience. Son of a bitch! But I was also able to experience the intended ambience and atmosphere. I was able to be surprised throughout the game. I was absolutely destroyed by the tutorial boss. Son of a bitch again! And that was until one of my friends told me that he beat him with a sword, which hadn't even dawned on me at the time. You must learn the ways of the helicopter saber. What? The verticality of this game completely took me by surprise, to the point that I didn't even consider that a viable strategy. Why would I think to hit a helicopter with a sword? The game really started to click for me after that, and it clicked for me so much that whenever I lost to Balteus like 30 times in a row, I didn't even care. Balteus was one of the most cinematic boss fights I think I've ever experienced in a video game, and I loved every second of it. This is a clip of me losing to him for like the 40th time on stream. Ah! Ah! No! Oh my god. Is that fucking insane? I tried to use a lightweight build for the majority of my playthroughs because I'm a Dex boy at heart, but I'm also really bad at video games, so I ultimately had to end up using my like break glass in case of emergency tank tread build when I was like, all right, it's probably time to progress the story again. As of now, I'm about 50 hours into the game and I'm on New Game Plus 2, and the game is a lot easier. Is it because I finally... But with me being on New Game Plus 2, I'm trying to get all 3 endings, which marks the first time ever I have played a game multiple times all the way through back to back without at least taking a small break first. I think the game being like 20-ish hours to beat contributes a lot to that, where games like Elden Ring and Tears of the Kingdom taking like 70 plus hours to beat the first time because I have the ADHD riddled exploration over progression gameplay style that tends to happen with me when I play open world games. I'm typically really content after beating them because I've already spent so long in the game. But not AC6. Like, yeah, I've beaten the game, but I'm not done. I haven't beaten it with laser sword. I haven't built the Asmongold dual Gatling gun tank build and run roughshod over every enemy in the game yet. There's still so much that I want to do. There's still bosses that I want to fight again just because of how fast we're zipping around the arena. I feel like I'm in an anime and we're moving so quick that it'll give Goku motion sickness. I also really enjoyed the mission structure to this game, which is probably the most surprising thing to all of this for me because I love open world games. I tend to navigate more towards them, and they're my favorite style of game because of how much I love to explore. Or so I thought. I really didn't think that a game could change my mind about that. But I think it really leads to the replayability of this game, is that I can just go in and just play a mission again. All that being said, the game isn't perfect, and there's still a few things that I'd like to see implemented. Number one being head units with eyeballs. Your boy's trying to build a Gundam over here. Can I get something that doesn't look like a dinner plate or a pair of butt cheeks for some reason? While the customization options are vast, there's not really that many builds that look as cool as they feel to play. But there is something to be said for a game that can make me absolutely fall in love with the hideousness that is the reverse joint legs. I avoided them like the plague when I first started playing this because I thought they looked so dumb. And now look, they're the foundation for like every single one of my favorite builds. I try to structure everything around the possibility of getting those reverse joint legs in there somewhere. I feel like the difficulty in this game is probably going to be a detractor for a lot of people. 2 camps specifically. You've got the casual gamer who just wants to vibe and explore an open world in their mech. And then you've got the FromSoft veteran who's tied their entire online personality into I beat hard games. I fall right in the middle here. While there's nobody in the game that's as daunting as Melania or the Radagon and Elden Beast fight, it's enough of a challenge that you're constantly kind of having to adjust your strategy to beat the game, so it keeps it engaging. I think there are times, especially in your first playthrough, where you feel pressured into doing a specific build. There's a couple instances where I felt like I just needed to have 40,000 AP in order to beat a level, but with subsequent playthroughs, as you get better and you get more and more used to how your mech operates, that really isn't the case as often as you think it is. The game stayed challenging for me, but it only hit me a couple times with the like, all right, I'll try again tomorrow. The story is actually surprisingly deep and complex too, especially after your first playthrough. When you play it the first time, it can seem pretty shallow on the surface, but with subsequent playthroughs, you realize there's a lot more to it. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't beaten the game yet, but there's entire missions that don't even become available until New Game Plus, which is exactly how New Game Plus should be. New missions leading to new outcomes, leading to new stuff. This game's a solid 9 out of 10 for me. Elden Ring is still higher on my favorite games of all time list, but it really beats AC6 in terms of like scope and the wow factor, where AC6 feels more like unbridled fun. FromSoft is on an absolute hot streak with Elden Ring and Armored Core 6 coming back to back, and I can't wait to see what else they come up with. I've still played very little of their catalog, so if there's anything else you guys want to see me review or play for the first time, let me know here. Until then, make sure to like and subscribe, guys, and I'll leave you with the advice that my great-grandfather left me before he passed.